So after watching the first episode, I went and watched a subtitled version of this opening. And surprise, surprise, the flowers do in fact seem to be a metaphor for some of the things that are going on, or I'm guessing will occur with Maomao. Lyrics like, it's okay to hide in the shadows, don't grow too great, just blend right in. But then like the other side of that being like, no, actually grow your flower to the fullest, almost like a devil whispering in her ear, which is kind of happening with this shadow version of herself in the intro. Which now with a little bit of context, looks more to be in what Momo said are the similar domains of escorts, I can't remember the word she used for it, and the royal palace mistresses. So you have this unassuming, humble bud, which is great and fine, and it's safe, versus the allure of what I'm guessing will be like this entrance into this insane world of glamour and beauty and power. Apothecary Diaries Season 1, Episode 2. No idea. Thanks for subtitling that. And the poison, yeah, we saw a hint of this last time. Don't eat the... What even was that? We got ourselves another mystery. Also, the character list is potentially bottomless. Oh, we can only have as many characters as an emperor can have mistresses. That's gotta be like, what, 3? And apparently eunuchs also, I guess. It's not gonna be that cut and dry though, it can never be that cut and dry. Oh, that was Lihua, I didn't recognize her. What did she say? Ignorance is sinful. That's true, man. The stakes are just different in this sort of world. I think this sort of conversation can be unpleasant. There's something unsatisfying about talking about it this way, but just personally, I believe from experience, we are very genetically driven creatures. Thankfully, that's not the whole thing. That's not the sum totality of a human soul, but it is a thing, right? And I think because it's a thing, and maybe even the default thing, right? Like we're maybe biological creatures first, the effects of that become more apparent the larger the sample set you're looking at. So like you look at any one person, you can find all sorts of ways in which their behavior maybe doesn't match genetic incentives, or like, you know, they're just thinking through what they want and they're going for what they want. But then you zoom out and look at the whole population and you're like, ah, yeah, that aligns much more closely, much more clearly with what you would expect people to do based on the incentives that they have biologically. I say all that to say, even just as a theory, it just occurred to me that thinking about this scenario specifically, the way it's set up might actually explain a lot of extreme behavior. Because like I was joking about with the concubine thing, if you have a grand king or emperor or whatever with this much control, they can have this many mistresses, you're talking about like a permanent impact into humans' genetic bloodline. For example, one thing I've often heard about Genghis Khan is that he makes up some insane percent of ancestry in Asia. On the emperor side, being a man, he can have virtually or theoretically infinite number of children because the cost of reproduction is 0. That would give an unbelievably outsized genetic advantage to becoming emperor, which would explain along genetic incentives why being the emperor is so dangerous, because it's such a coveted spot. It also partially explains why you'd be willing to go to such great lengths to make sure every man around is a eunuch, because let's say the heir to the throne is not actually the son of the emperor, but of a male attendant. Well, that man just came in and took that massive genetic legacy that the emperor was coveting. On the courtesan side, being women, since childbirth is much more limited than it would be for the emperor, given that it takes 9 months and that, you know, there's just a limited amount of kids you can have. The way you succeed genetically is by giving birth to the prince, not the princess, because again, you want that like maximal genetic contribution potential thing that only males carry. The princess is still good in a sense because she can maybe become the wife of a different leader somewhere. And you can still have a great genetic legacy, but not as great, or at least not as locally great as you can with the male heir to the emperor. And I don't know, maybe this sounds somewhat cynical or like over-focused on genetics. And it's definitely not the only component to this analysis, but I think maybe I would say it's more of the analysis that might seem initially obvious, right? Because you could point to other things, other reasons why this is such an extreme setting, like, well, if you're the emperor, you have insane power. That's absolutely true. But then that begs the question of like, well, what does power mean to nature anyway? You know, like what is the underpinning value of power as a king? And sure, there's the hedonistic aspects of it, but that fades pretty quickly in nature's timeline. So like your individual hedonism doesn't really mean anything to nature or have any feedback into nature. There's no sexual selection processes happening there. There are natural selection processes happening there, but then like even that, what's the point of natural selection? It's to keep you alive long enough so you can participate in sexual selection. That's the only thing that adds a feedback element or the next iteration into this process of trial and error that is evolution and animal life. And again, what domain we're talking about is really important. If we're talking about any one individual, the sky's the limit. The depth of character and motivations and the ability to abstract and think higher, quote unquote, and the potential to rise above the immediate grip and pull of nature is practically infinite. It's a dangerous game. At any rate. High stakes. A lot of players. Pawn, you say. That's a dirty word. She could be dangerous. This is the inherent contradiction that's growing in many ways. She is the flower. This should be hilarious, seeing as she's not naturally interested in him. Why are you still talking to me? I'm past this now. He didn't do anything, he just chuckled.
何かご用でしょうか。
いや、用はない。
は？じゃあなんで来た？
Here to seduce you. Come over here and get seduced.
玉葉妃にしっかり使えるように。
Why are you touching my hair? That gave me the heebie-jeebies. I don't know about Maomao. I think maybe that was the same for her. Yeah. It's a little bit thick. Really thick. I don't know. Is it even like seduction? I think maybe he's just used to people fawning over him for his looks. I can see how that might get confusing if you're insanely attractive. We got a whole team. It takes a staff. I mean, what Maomao did is one of the best character references you could possibly have. She risked her life to give them helpful information. I gotta cook too? What are my job responsibilities exactly? What's the scope of this position? We got a uniform too. I'm not gonna learn your names because I won't be here that long. I'm moving up in the world. This is just a stepping stone. I thought this was a promotion. I'm doing more work? Well, she's sort of a hero around here, right? Oh. Uh-oh. Hazing? You're making me concerned. I think, well, I don't know her backstory, but she did some of it to herself. Yeah, that part is the concerning part. I have expected to hear a locking sound from the outside. They seem warm. They seem more concerned than anything. Another mystery. Oh. Wait, once or always? That's certain death. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that can be addressed. Hire me, Lady Goku, whatever your name is. Yeah, that's a death sentence. And they came here to watch too. Is there a way to test for all poisons? You can't swallow it? I guess you probably shouldn't swallow it. How insanely dedicated do you have to be? But if she dies, you probably die. This one's poisoned. That's a little bit irritating, yeah. Is this also a poison test? Are we... Okay, what? What are you doing right now? Is that what it was about? Making sure kidnappers don't get any money at our own expense? The hazard pay is just like a clever accounting way to get the money back in our hands. That was very empathetic. Interesting. She seems nice, though I have my suspicions. Stay away from the Emperor. That's when things get real dangerous. This is a great job. Until it isn't. The repulsion. What are you actually doing? Oh, this might be from the front lines where we saw people die. An aphrodisiac? And also for other reasons I can't do that. Then again, I don't know the ins and outs of eunuchs. I don't know exactly how this works. Does an aphrodisiac work on a eunuch? The great questions of our times. Hopefully you didn't receive him from the king. That's downright creepy. I'm just gonna go ahead and say no. Now you've got my attention. Now you're speaking my language. How many hands did that one pass through? Too many hands. Is it the same flower again? We should just eliminate this flower. Is that the one behind the death makeup? Maybe, yeah, you made a fire for the food. You burned poisonous wood. They showed that too. They're very clever. They're very clever in their setup. Another promotion. One promotion per episode. for you. Making drugs, my favorite activity. Breaking Maomao.
時間と材料と道具さえあれば、それ
Masks her
以上のもの
excitement.
が作れます。
She's never been happy in her life. I'm really glad those people kidnapped me. I wonder who the Aphrodisiac is for. It's not Master Jinshi. Spoiler alert. I don't think. Who knows? Could be.
部屋でお茶でも。
Did you make those
あいにく
Baozu?
仕事が残っていますので失礼します。
Relatable.
ジンシ様が市場への忠誠を図る試金石で。
Oh, is she gonna die?
帝のお通いがないからと他の男を信女に引き入れようなど不心得も甚だしい。
I mean, what better reason?
帝に対しての忠誠心、低層観念が必要だ。
Yeah, they made that very clear, you know, with the eunuchs.
市場も酷なことを。
使えるものは使うさ。
Yes.
だが自分を欲情の相手にしないばかりかあんな目で。あんな軽蔑した目で見られたのは
This is a weird thing. Okay, there's so many weird things come out of this. I don't even know where to begin. Firstly, there's something like a weird catch-22 to thinking about this, for example, you know, like having a sexual drive. Having a sexual drive is something that feels important and valuable that you wouldn't want to sacrifice. But is that really, truly a genuine feeling? Or is that a physical result of being in that state itself? Like, does Jinshi feel that way? Maybe not. The having of the thing itself is like a weird recursive loop thing. The one logical thing I can put forth to say it is valuable, aside from like very basic generic claims of like, you know, we should value what nature gives us and stuff, the beauty of humanity, etc., is one very strong argument for what is some sort of objective purpose that we can find in life is like contribution and creation, because that is a process that seems to mirror something like the values of nature, right? Like nature is always iterating and creating and growing and trying to find things that work and that are sustainable and expansive. So humans doing that almost seems like a tribute and service to something that is greater than ourselves, that we didn't make up or invent or fantasize about, right? Like that predates us. It exists with or without us. It's bigger than us. And there are many ways to do that, but I think just guessing probably what the greatest contribution most people will maybe can make is just like having kids, because of what I feel is the value of a human soul, right? Like if one individual person has all of this amazing potential, like I think they do, then just by having a child immediately, you've created something beautiful. Not that that's the only way to create or to contribute or to help. It's just like a very obvious, direct way. But then on the pro eunuch side, man, I would have had so many extra resources, so much extra energy and time and money and lack of anxiety, lack of waiting for texts that never came, all the stupid things I put myself through and activities and trends I had to endure just to impress a crush. Emperor's still evil and terrible though, because I'm assuming none of this is a choice for them. And then the other thing is that even if he doesn't value his looks, if you're so used to getting praise or getting positive attention for something, even if you don't value it, you feel at a loss when it stops working. In other words, it's not a positive, but can very easily become a negative. It can never be a surplus, but it can easily be a deficit. And that deficit can create an obsession.
では私は失礼します。
Goodbye. Another person your charms are not working on.
今晩あたり訪問が
He does not want that. Whoever it is, he's afraid.
普段はジン様の付き人をしています。
Oh,
以後お見知りおきを。
keep your guard up. This dude seems alright though. You suck because you're a quack, and that's your fault. If you weren't such a quack, none of this would have happened.
自由に使っていいと言われています。
This is very free when it's like a treasure chest. But she unironically is sort of glad you got kidnapped right now. What is with these people and their curses?
あちらですね。
He seems alright. I don't know. I'm getting that vibe.
つくな。それに比べて囚人は
It's not working.
何もしないならどこか行けよ。
He thinks he's doing something though.
これはなんだ？
カカオです。
Oh, it's chocolate.
でも西のさらに南方で取れるものですよ。
What Maomao wants, Maomao shall get. Please notice me, Maomao. That is not a great way to get attraction.
高級品ばかりね。一体何を作るのかしら。
Viagra. It's weird. I'm watching like a cooking anime, but like for the Emperor's sex life.
横島な客が売れっ子妓女の関心を買うために渡したが、残念ながらやり手ババアに出禁を食らう羽目になった。
There's no way that like old-timey natural aphrodisiacs were that powerful.
薬草？あれはここにもあそこにも。
Got a little bit distracted there. What about the aphrodisiac brownies? Did we miss the... I guess we didn't need them.
とりあえず氷は分かった。
We did deliver them. That's a powerful concoction.
じゃあこっちは何なんだ？
私の夜食です。
So the girls just did that of their own volition?
ということは私が食べても問題ないのか。
それはおやめください。
冗談だ。
男女問わず理性のタガが外れかねないだろうな。
I don't know about that.
今度帝のために作ってもらおうかしら。マンネリ防止に。
いつもの競争剤の3倍は効くと思いますけど。
3倍持続の方かし
やっと終わった。
Don't do that. You don't need to be so touchy of the hair all the time. Ew. Creepy. You know what? Wait. What was the aphrodisiac for exactly? The hell was that? Just mysteries piling up all over the place. I'd assumed they were for the Emperor, but now it seems like it's for Jinshi's evil deeds. I mean, I guess the Emperor probably doesn't need aphrodisiacs. Maybe Jinshi will use the aphrodisiacs on the Emperor. So many disturbing possibilities. I don't know, I'm just spitballing here, but just based on the fact that it seems like the two principal characters are Maomao and Jinshi, and the fact that they appeared in the intro sort of contrasted against each other, there's probably a similar thing happening for them, or there's a similar exploration, just maybe from different angles. You know, like Jinshi is already in the courtesan life, and he's like fully in it and like flowered, so to speak. But I suspect there's also a lot more to him, a lot more humble origins or roots or ambitions, where this is maybe something like a mask that he relies on for survival. They're going to have dual fates, right? And they're going to be different approaches to very, very similar themes.